reflect back on what it was like when you first started. What were your feelings of first being introduced to the use of ICT, and what are your thoughts now? How have you progressed from those early days?
Well, sometimes I wonder how I ever got started. I used to think that the computer was basically a typewriter. Could not respond to an email unless somebody emailed me first, and I'd press the forward button. I knew how to do that. But I guess what really got me started on the project was my fear of not feeling competent in that. And I said, I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to try to learn something I know nothing about. But enough being the ostrich and putting my head in the sand, right? This is the reality. There's a new literacy out there that I'm not prepared for, that I didn't feel comfortable I could teach my children. So that's why I first started in the project.
You've been in the project 2 years now,
yes,
right? So you came in the second year, and you came in after it had started for 1 year.
Yes.
Okay. When you started, where were you in terms of the use of information technology? I mean, were you pretty good at it, or?
I was good at it for myself, but not exposing it to the kids. You know, I was comfortable myself using the internet and using the basic tools.
Okay.
But in terms of using it in my classroom, I was not familiar with it at all. So
okay.
I started off pretty much straight, like not knowing anything in the classroom.
We've tried to convey in the project is that people should be progressing at their own rate,
yes.
Okay, in baby steps. Is that an important thing for us to remember?
Oh yes, because I think generally, like, I'm still using what I need because I am going at baby steps. Like, I'm not as far ahead as my other coworkers,
okay.
But I use it according to what I need in my classroom and according to what I'm able to do.
Okay.
And I take baby steps according to what I need to learn at that moment. I try not to bombard my things with too many applications or too many things you're learning. I focus on one thing and I say, okay, how am I going to put that for next year?
How has your teaching changed because you're being involved in the project? Has it changed a fair amount, a little amount? What do you think?
From time to time, I think it has changed. On the different types of projects that I've done, I would incorporate technology into the different activities, whereas I would have done it a different way from in the past. So I think my teaching style has also changed because I've become more of a risk taker as well, to try these things out, to see what works, what doesn't, and then I do it again another time and fix up things that don't seem to work so well and use the ones that have worked for other projects.
Do the kids learn it fairly quickly? I mean, in your experience?
I think sometimes they learn quicker than I do. They're showing me and I'm showing them, so we work together.
It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
So in a sense, then, what you would say is that being involved in the project is encouraged risk-taking in you and in the kids.
Yes, and it's made more enjoyable to teach, and the students enjoy it, I enjoy it, and we have a good time together.
It's good.
Sometimes it's frustrating, but other times it's beneficial and it helps out.
I want to go back to your comment a minute ago, though, about how you've been able to use ICT to support what you're actually teaching in the curriculum and what the students need to learn in your classroom. Was that a hard thing to do, or was that based on your own teaching experience?
It wasn't something that happened overnight. It's just still happening. It's baby steps. It's learning one thing, and then you get turned on to another thing, and then you hear about another tool, and you try it. It's talking to the different people in the project, what they've done and what they've tried. Run stations. The students always have a technology station, and they're so great, and they can turn it on and problem shoot. I find just teaching a few kids to do something, and when a problem, oh, okay, so-and-so, can you please go? And that, I find that's a lot of the fear. We try, oh, what if something happens and I don't know? Well, it's okay, because then you show the kids that you don't know everything, and you know what, we're going to learn, and that's where the support group comes in.
In terms of new teachers coming into the project, what do you think what are some of the things that you've learned? What are your lessons learned in terms of encouraging new people to begin to use technology in support of student learning?
I think one of the lessons we learned is that the technology doesn't come first. The pedagogy comes first. What you're doing in your classroom is of utmost importance. So it's just learning how to integrate the technology in such a way that it doesn't become an extra thing, because we all know as teachers we're incredibly busy. There's a lot of things going on. So what I would suggest to teachers is really putting their pedagogy first and then saying, all right, this is what I want to do. What tool can I use that would help me to bring in the technology aspect? And I think because technology can be really fascinating sometimes, and we can get overwhelmed easily though, because it's not necessary to learn every single tool. You learn what you need to learn when you need it. So for example, when our kids are making a podcast, we learned how to use GarageBand recording. Then that's all we learned, and that's all we needed. So I think taking it one step at a time, because at times as teachers you see something and what somebody else does and you say, wow, that's really neat, I'd love to do that. But it becomes overwhelming, and really we say this a lot on our school team, taking those baby steps. You know, you start, even if it's something as simple as bringing computers into your classroom and saying to the kids, this is how you open them, and teaching them how to treat them fairly.
What advice would you give to new teachers coming into, who are considering coming into the project?
I would say take baby steps. Don't overwhelm yourself. Ask for help. There are a lot of people that know a lot, that are very willing to help. Like, even for me, like, I wish that more people would email me and say, Marielle, can you help me with this? The people are, I think, are reticent to do that. And that's what I like. I really like sharing what I'm doing. I really like helping people, and I don't feel like I think that's something I could try and figure out how to do better.
Think for a minute from the project point of view now, okay, in terms of the benefits that the project has brought to you at your school level, and then our face-to-face meetings, and our network. Well, has it been helpful? I mean, that's a very key question for us.
Well, I think it's done so much for our school. Like in terms of, first of all, it gave us, I think, the jumping board in year one. Because of this project, we had support from the administration who believed in us and said, fine, here are 2 MacBooks, here's the planning time together. So it enabled us to create that core team. Gave us the technology to use in our classrooms. And when we went to these face-to-face meetings, we always learned about new tools, new tricks from other teachers that excited us and we wanted to take back to our class. In year 2, I think we became more comfortable with the technology. So anyways, my role of the follower became more of a participant, because in the beginning I felt like, ooh, I'm just following here. I'm trying to learn. I didn't feel too comfortable. So the second year I felt, wow, I could try all these new tools I'm being presented with. And year 3 now, I see myself more as a helper, a facilitator.
Facilitator? Maybe
helper.
A leader?
Maybe, I don't know. Well, I
would
remember the first time I sat in that meeting in Montreal and I saw that at our cycle, it was very different than in the other cycles, because I saw 12 me's looking back at us going, what? And then I stopped at one point and I said, oh, okay, well, what she's talking about, if you don't know what a blog is, it's an online journal. And if you don't know, if you don't think you're going to use it anytime soon, I didn't even start using it yet, so don't panic. So I felt that I felt like I needed to reassure them and hold on to them and say, don't let go yet, because this is a fun ride. You gotta trust.